Now, you took us through the draft day story. Can you take us through the story of becoming a punter? I listened to some of your previous interviews. Coaches, whenever you were young, were trying to get you to play different positions. You ended up playing punter because it was out of need. Like the team didn't have it, and you punted one time, and it was not the best punt. It only went like 5 yards, but you fell in love with it and stuck with the position. Could you take us through that story?
Yeah, man. So my seventh grade year, I was playing center at my middle school, and we had an open trial like the second or third day of football practice to try to find a kicker. We didn't have one, basically. So I just took the initiative of, screw it, it's something new. I might as well just try it. I'll do it for the team and then go back on offense when I'm needed. So that's what my first thought process was. When that ball hit my foot the first time, I just kind of fell in love with it. I mean, I've never done it before. I always used to play like kickball and stuff growing up, and I always had a strong leg, but I never thought of using it as a specialist. So,
Even though it was a bad kick.
Yeah, even though it was really, really bad, I thought it was really, really good because nobody else could do it. So 7th and 8th grade go by. I was doing that. I transitioned over to tight end my 8th grade year. And then I got to high school. So freshman year comes around over the summer. The next thing I know, I'm still trying to punt for our we call it the B team, so it's under junior varsity, and it's usually just freshmen playing on that team.
Mm-hmm.
So, I started that in the off season work that we had, and one day I'm out kicking, and our varsity coach walks by, says tomorrow at practice, come over to the varsity field and punt. And I punted a couple balls, and when I tell you, a couple of the players were actually very astonished at the fact that it was so high. Oh. I didn't really have good form because I never got sustainable coaching or anything yet. But after that practice, he moved me up to varsity to be second string. I didn't play my freshman year at all. I had raw potential still. I had a strong leg, but I didn't really know how to kick the ball yet. So after my freshman year, off of the B team, I got moved up to varsity full time just for specialists. But the tight ends coach, the offensive line coach at the time was telling me, look, next year you can do this punting and stuff the rest of this year, but next year I need you to play tight end. I need you to play tight end and fullback so you can block for us, stuff like that, right? So, I went and told my mom, I'm like, hey, like this punting thing, I'm enjoying it, but, they want me to play tight end on varsity and stuff the next year. And my mom was just like, what do you want to do? I was like, to be honest, coach made it seem like he wants me to do that just for him, not for me to be in the best position to get to college, because that was my dream of going to my dream school was South Carolina. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to be 6'5" trying to play tight end in the SEC. It's just not going to happen. So he was like, well, just follow what your heart wants you to do. And I did that, and I went to practice the next day, and I told him, I was like, Coach, I thought about what you said. I think I want to just punt. And when I tell you that coach got pissed off at me, because he was like, no, you don't need to do that. You're not going to be able to do that. You're never going to be good at it. And ever since that moment on, I just wanted to prove him wrong. So my freshman year ends. The next year comes by. I start getting coaching and stuff in the off season for punting. And going into my sophomore year, I went up to Wisconsin to our, we call it it's the Coles Kicking Professional Camps. I went to their National Scholarship Camp up north in Wisconsin, and I didn't really have any coaching or anything at that point yet, but I worked my butt off that off season to be able to be good enough to go to this camp and then to go prove myself. And I did just that, man. Like, I left that camp ranked number 1 in the nation.
Wow.
I was number 1 at that camp as a rising sophomore, and I beat out NFL players that are actually in the league now that were in high school at the same time as me a couple years ago. I won that entire camp, and for the first time in Cole's kicking history, an underclassman won the camp that was supposed to be the ranking for the Under Armour All-American game. So I was supposed to play in the game, but because I'm not a senior, I had to forfeit my spot.
Oh, wow. Man. Dude, that's dope, though. Holy cow. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, man. So from that point on, I kind of felt like I had a target on my back. And I was an early bloomer with this kicking stuff, man. Like, I had a really early growth spurt with it. And by the time my senior year caught up, the same guys that were in my class that couldn't keep up, they started getting better. So I just continued to get better and better every year. And work my behind off. throughout my entire high school career to be able to get one scholarship offer. My only one was to Georgia Tech. My only offer in general. I didn't have a preferred walk-on offer or anything. I said South Carolina was my dream school, and Munchamp was the head coach at the time that I was getting recruited, and he didn't offer me because he just got there and they were in the rebuilding stage of their program. I wanted to stay home so bad. He didn't offer me. Tech offered me earlier in my junior year. I went ahead and accepted that. And man, the rest is history now, man. I'm just truly blessed for that opportunity in the first place because, if Georgia Tech didn't believe me, I don't know where I was going to be.
That's a dope story.
No, that is, man. That definitely is. I got a selfish question. JMU, they weren't on the radar? I'm just throwing it out there, man. You ever heard of James Madison University?
I have. I actually have, and that's the crazy thing. But, man, my biggest thing was, where can I go to get a really good education and not pay for school? That was my two things.
For sure.
I didn't want to burden my family and my parents on, having to pay student loans and stuff like that with me throughout my entire lifetime. So
I could definitely understand that.
Yeah, man.